All right, so all I'm going to say is you lucky, lucky people. So I just caught up with my good friend from Liverpool, England, by the name of Christina Mitchell, and she's a life coach and a family coach and one of the most positive people I know. She's just like super, super amazing. And we just got off the phone, or actually got off here after about an hour, and you got to listen to this. You just got to listen to this. She's got a great way about her, and she's a teacher, so she is going to lay out 5 things we can do to survive this with our kids and get the right mindset for our families. And I just kind of sat there and was like, this is just too cool. One thing, since I'm not used to this entirely, I had it on the wrong setting. So we flipped back and forth a little bit instead of having like the nice thing that I had with Mr. Fuller there. But anyway, enjoy Distantly Social, episode 2.
Welcome to Distantly Social with Ed Goyette, a hopefully short lived series of interesting conversations with people from all over the world.
My guest today, and I'm really super excited to have this woman and introduce you to her. She is a teacher, a transformational family and life coach, and a guest lecturer at Liverpool Hope University. She's also a mother of 2 amazing boys. She's trained relentlessly in the areas of positive psychology and personal development over her life, and is now using what she's learned to empower people to become the very best version of themselves. The last decade, she has been inspiring and changing the lives of hundreds, if not thousands, of teachers and students through her mindset, resiliency, and positivity program called Born to Thrive. It's my great pleasure to introduce you one of the most interesting people that I know, Christina Mitchell.
Well, Ed, what an introduction. That sounds fabulous.
I
I
could have
didn't
gone
know
on.
it sounded that good.
I could have gone on for another 10 minutes.
Fabulous. Fabulous. You know me well.
Yeah, all the way over from Liverpool, England. How are things in Liverpool going today?
Liverpool's good, to be honest. Yeah, we're a very hardy bunch in Liverpool, and we're very positive, and we cope well with setbacks, and we're very resilient. So yeah, we're doing great. Lots of positivity and lots of support.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. And you on the same kind of lockdowns that we are here as far as
Yep, we're on lockdowns. I still work in a school a day a week, so I am on the rota to go in. So I was in this week, was in yesterday, looking after key worker children. There was only 31 that turned up yesterday. There was 60 on Monday, and there's staff from 3 schools that came in. And it was just a lovely positive vibe, just trying to keep 2 meters distance and continue to wash our hands.
so
So we're like in a little bubble.
your schools are still in session over there.
No, they're all closed down, but if they are children of key worker children, such as someone in the NHS, a doctor, a nurse, what's been defined as key worker children, they still need to go to work, the key workers. So what do they do with their children? So as it's a primary school, 4 to 11, the schools are still open, and what they've decided on is there's hubs. So certain schools are designated as a hub, and children from the area in different schools and staff come to that hub.
Gotcha. That's interesting. Yeah, we don't have anything like that going on over here. We're all just holed up in our houses, and we've got all of our restaurants on delivery or takeout only.
Yeah.
And it's starting to ramp up over here a little bit more than it was last week. So we're kind of going through that, and this is why I'm so excited to talk to you, because just a little backstory. Christina and I met, I don't know, a year or two ago, and we had the opportunity to have a breakfast when you came over to Boston. She came over to Boston. And how long did we say that we sat there and talked?
So we made friends 2 years ago on an online course, didn't we? And then I was over in America and Canada, and I got to meet you in Boston for breakfast at 8, and I promised my husband I'd be back at the hotel by 10. And by 12:30, he was phoning me saying, "We need to check out. Where are you?" So, we can definitely chew the fat, can't we, Ed, about all things?
Yeah, we were saying that we don't have a ton of time here today, and I'm going, okay, well, I remember, like, not only did we have breakfast for 4 hours, but then we tried to walk back to the hotel and we got lost somehow, and the reason we got lost, honestly, I was thinking about that because I know that area in Boston, and I probably could have gotten you back to your hotel if I wasn't just so into the conversation we were having while we were walking.
It was fabulous. It was fabulous, wasn't it? And that's what's wonderful about what's going on at the moment. For me, I've got so many online friends and connections, and I really believe that they are true, deep, long-lasting, lifelong friends. And people have come out come out of the shadows to help me in things, and it's just been absolutely brilliant. Yeah, so I'm very fortunate that my online world is part of my support system right now.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing that we're learning, right? I think through this is that we're craving that in-person connection right now, because that was just taken from us out of nowhere. Within a week, boom, all of a sudden, like, you can't go out, you can't see your friends in person. And I think that shift to what we're doing right now, and to what people are kind of, I don't know, pushing into their lives right now, of like, okay, how do we make that connection, and how real is that connection? And the interesting thing is that, like you just said, it's, as long as you can as long as you can talk to somebody, and even seeing them is even better. That connection's still there. It doesn't really matter now, does it?
And also you can grow connections. So I was in a school in January and I had an amazing time, made a fantastic connection with the staff, and I've continued to work with them each month. And I can't go down to London now to work with the staff and work in the school. So a WhatsApp group's been set up with all the staff. There's, I don't know, 40, 50 staff on there. And we're posting things and little videos and photographs of our cup and saucer and our teapot, and photos of our babies, and the energetic connection between people that you know and you don't know as well. If we want one, we can create one. So much good and positivities come out of this, through connecting with people that you wouldn't normally have connected with in this way. So it's just, there's always a solution. Mm-hmm. So the way I like to look at it at the moment, and I've been getting it across to coaching clients. So as you said, I coach young children. I coach a lot of adults, a lot of parents, mainly mothers during the day. And mothers at the moment are worried and they're a bit anxious. How to do the home learning? How do I carry everybody's emotions, etc.? And the way I'm getting across is, it's like it's raining, and the stream down the mountain was going in this direction, but a boulder has fallen, and loads of boulders and rocks, and it's blocking that stream. So the stream can no longer make its way that way. It can't make a path that way. But nature has always got a plan B, and the stream is just making a new path down the mountain in this direction. It's still going to get down the mountain. It's going to see different flowers and fauna and bushes and trees, a different view, but the stream will just still make its way. It's just a bit different path. And that's what's happening. We were going down the mountain in one direction. Nature's come into play. We're now going down the mountain, forging a stream in a different direction. And it's just requiring us to think, okay, it's a different direction. So what can I think, do, and be differently to enjoy the journey down the mountain?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna say, this morning when I get up, and I try to write every morning, and I was sitting there, and this is just honestly, like, right in this moment, I'm kind of blown away by what you just said for a bunch of different reasons. Just this morning, as I was writing, and maybe like an hour and a half ago, I was thinking about a river, and a river that got dammed. Like, this is literally the imagery. I wrote this about an hour and a half ago, and it was just, I didn't actually pursue the whole thought, but a river that got dammed is still going to flow. It might go around the dam and find a different way. But I, like, you and I are so in sync today, which is
synchronicity. Absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing. I just love that imagery. And that's the thing that I love about how you do what you do, because you have a way of taking really big concepts and making them very simple and accessible. So some of the things that you had told me when we met, about the intuitiveness that you have with people and with families, and how you can walk in and quickly assess, what's going on in the dynamics and all that. Are you finding that you're picking that up only on like a global scale now? Because it seems like you're kind of really tuned into what people need.
Yes, and it's the parents, it's the mothers that need it most now, I think. And I'm picking up on a world scale, really. Yeah, and it can be on any sort of group that I'm in, and someone posts something, so I can kind of read between the lines and join the dots. So something posted something in another group, and then I just could read between the lines, and then she messaged me privately, and then I said, you know what, I'll give you a coaching call, just get in touch and we'll sort out a coaching call. She wrote me a little précis, and I could see, right, that happened then, and this is why this is happening now, and this is what we need to work through so you can cope in this situation at the moment, because we have what I call wonky thinking, and we all have it. I had it as a child. I've gone back to rewrite those meanings and improve my relationship later in life. So now I've got this ability, this gift, if you will, that I can stop children form wonky thinking and get them in a wonky path in life. And then parents, adults, mothers who have wonky thinking based on meanings they chose as a child, I can help them rewrite them. And at the moment, my thing is I'm good at helping people step through their stories to a more positive story. And if ever there's a thing at the moment we need, is to step through our story to find a more positive story. And positivity is what can help us in this time now, because it boosts our immune system more than anything else. Positivity boosts our immune system. And it's not the lack of toilet rolls or hand sanitizer that's going to get us down if we're lucky enough not to get the virus. It's our thoughts.
And
it's
so
not why you run with your thoughts.
And the toilet paper is a thing in
the UK as well.
In the UK as well. I don't understand. I posted on Facebook the other day. I called my parents, and they're in their 80s, and I said, "Do you have a grocery list? I'll leave some groceries outside of your door." And my dad said, "Yeah, and we need a bottle of hand sanitizer." And I literally just started laughing, like it was the most ridiculous thing that somebody would ask me for. Like, of course you can't. Like, you want to borrow gold with that too? It was just hilarious. And I stopped. I'm like, wow, how the world has changed. That the concept of getting a bottle of hand sanitizer from my dad is just like this fantastical thing at this point. Just crazy.
And bless him that he's in that bubble. He thinks you can still get hold of it.
Oh, I know. And the upside of that was, how parents, they always want to give you money for whatever you bring, and and they always have to pay for dinner or whatever. It was just so funny because my mom's on the other side of this glass door. They're in their bubble, and I'm leaving the things, and we're talking, and she's like, "Hold it, I get money." "No, Mom, you can't get out of your bubble. They're gonna arrest me. Like, you gotta stay there." And just to see the frustration on her face, because she was so defeated. Like, I want to pay for this. I'm like, "Oh, sorry, can't do it." So that was an unexpected win on the not accepting money from your parents front. That was really funny.
I know. So my mum was stranded in New Zealand, and she managed to get a flight back eventually, and lots of people who I didn't know came to see if they could help. One chap got in touch who I didn't know, I've never met, I wasn't connected with him on LinkedIn, but it was somebody who I knew him, and he offered to put my mum up in New Zealand. God bless him. She's home now, safe. So I went to do a shop for my mum, and I left them at the door, and she said, "How much do I hear?" I was like, "You don't. There's the shopping. Stand back." So yeah. Yep. I think I get things across simplicity, and it's only now that I really worked it out, is because I relate to the world a little bit like I'm a 7-year-old. I'm a primary school teacher. I make things multi-sensory and kinesthetic. So I like things to be sticky because it takes me a while to learn things. So if it's sticky learning and it's visual and there's an object to it, it just helps me remember things. So when I do training in schools, so my school program is called Thrive in 5, or part of the Born to Thrive. It's there's resources, it's practical. So for our chat today, Ed, I am prepared with a beach ball, which
that's awesome,
and some pictures, which I'll come to later, and some Velcro, which I'll come to later, because I'm a teacher at primary and we have practical resources.
I love this. School's in session. So
School's in session.
Let's talk. I'm dying to see what you got.
So the way I like to get across is that we're all swimming in a pool of life, and your pool might be outside in nature. It could be an indoor pool. My pool is an outdoor pool, and my pool is an oblong-shaped pool, and I swim in my pool of life, and we all swim in our pool of life. And I think I'm going to give you 5 things because my program is called Thrive in 5. So I'm going to give 5 tips now for anyone watching. Any individual, any parent, any child, it's for everybody. Because thriving is flourishing given the circumstances, isn't it? And we mightn't have the normal nutrients and sun and water, but we can still thrive with what we've got. So number 1 is clean out your pool of life. So we swim in a pool of life, and my pool is an outdoor pool, and sometimes leaves can float into it, and we need to clear out the leaves. And we have a magnetic energy, and we radiate, and whatever we think, it shows up in our energy field. And whatever we think, it creates the atmosphere and the weather around us. So we can't be thinking negative thoughts and be kind of smiley with our kids. They still feel it. Our children feel it. And our other half, yeah, nothing's wrong. They feel it. They can feel it in the atmosphere. So the way to look at it at the moment to help us get through what we're going through is to have a positive pool of life. So if we're positive, our thoughts are positive, the ripples we send out as if it was a stone thrown into a pool, those positive ripples impact the children and our other half, whoever we're living with, our family, and also people around us in the periphery, because the ripples go out, it impacts them, and we feel their ripples back. So we want it to be like organic. Our positive ripples go out, the positive ripples come back in again. And that if we do that, we end up feeling, I like to say, smiles in our tummy. It's that warm, sturdy feeling, I'm okay, and sunshine in our brain. Now, clouds can come in, but it's batting them away and trying to maintain that positivity. So the way I've illustrated it here is my little pool of life. Now, I don't know how to flip it on a screen, but you get the gist.
Oh, you're good, yeah.
There's your kids, there's your other half, there's your family, and there's all the people in the periphery. So if we send out positive ripples, that energy, that positivity goes out and it comes back in again. So keeping a positive pool of life. So that's my top tip, is to clear out your leaves. So equally, we can have a negative pool of life. So if we are irritated, annoyed, pissed off, don't know if that's an American expression, but if we are blaming somebody else, we are getting our negativity out and we're putting it on somebody else. Oh, they didn't pick up the towels. Oh, they're being lazy doing this, or they're not meeting my needs, or they're ignoring me, or whatever. We get that negative emotion out because we don't like it in us. We put it on somebody else. So we put negativity around their pool, but also if the ripples are connected, we're actually poisoning our own pool. We think we get it out and put it on someone else, but all we're doing is deferring responsibility. We're saying it's not on me, it's on them, it's their fault, and put it on them. But as we put negativity around their pool, our other half, our children, our family, whatever, we're putting negativity, we're poisoning our own pool. And to overcome that is, what can I be responsible? What can I think differently? What can I do differently? What conversation do I need to have in authenticity? Starting with an I message. I feel supported when you help hoover up in the house. I feel supported when you remember to put the towels away, because then we've all got dry towels to put to use tomorrow. Delivering an I message, because we think we get it out and blame other people, but actually it impacts us. So if we've got a problem with someone that we're not living with even, and we've still got resentment and we've still got a bit of blame, have that conversation with them, because we're carrying around that negativity, and that is poisoning the pool of life that we swim in. So my little picture, it could be someone out here, but if you're sending negative ripples out to them, thinking, well, it gets me off them, it blames them, it's their fault, the ripples still affect you. You still got the dark clouds and those negativity around you. So clear out the leaves in your pool, maintain a positive pool of life, because it's the best thing to do for you, for your positivity, for your immune system, because it's still inside you, it still eats you even on a low level. And what we need more than anything right now is positivity, positive thoughts, positive energies, because we're energetic connected. You and I are energetically connected now. I feel the connection, I feel the love, I feel the synchronicity. I'm in Liverpool, you're in Boston. So the more we put out there, the more we get back. So it's in our interest, basically. Clear out your leaves, have conversations you need to have with people. And if you've got irritation, rather than blame, have a conversation. So that was tip one. What do you think of that, Ed?
I love that. I love that. You need to send me pictures of those drawings, because I want to post them up. That was awesome. That was just tip one. I thought we were on three.
That was tip one. And the reason why, that resonates because I was a blamer. So I blamed not growing up with my dad in life. I blame my mum for being controlling. And my poor husband, he'd get the blame for everything. My bread and butter would fall butter side down and he'd still get the blame. It was because I didn't take responsibility for myself. I didn't think I was capable. And if I blamed someone else, it kind of got it off me. But then that's not living the most fulfilling, thriving life. And there was the one time when it really hit home. I remember this really clearly. And I wanted a big glass for my shake. and I didn't have one. They were in the dishwasher, and I went to the kitchen cupboard to get one out, and there wasn't one. And I started to blame my husband for putting the big glasses and sorting out the glasses and putting some glasses in the shed outside. And in an instant, I realized I am blaming my husband with negativity for something. And he's not even in the house. He's not in the city. He's not even in the country. He's not in the continent. He was in Australia. So I was poisoning my own pool, eating my own poison of negativity, pissing myself off, and my husband was in Australia, when obviously it wasn't his fault.
Right.
That was just a small example to go, right, Christina, you're a big girl now. You can go outside and get on a ladder and get in the box down and get the glasses out and get yourself a glass if you need more glasses. Take personal responsibility.
Well, I want to point something out, and the thing that fascinates me about you and your ability, and I think more people, if we did this, not only we'd feel better ourselves, but the world would be a better place. And that you took the time to do that deep work and that self-reflection when your life wasn't going the way you wanted it to, and when you were depressed and you were found things about yourself that you were like, this needs to change. I love the fact, and it still seems like you're constantly doing that, is you're looking at your own feedback loop. And that is so so hard to do, because a lot of us are just seeing life as coming at us, and we're dealing with what's coming at us, and we see it as external, but it is really all internal. And the thing that fascinated me about our conversation before was that you had that moment in your life, and now it's turned into so many moments in your life where you're like, stop, hold on, what is actually going on here, and what's my part in it? And I think what we'll all find is that our part in it is 100%. You know, we can take whatever's coming at us, as we can look at it as a lesson, a challenge, something that's supposed to be there, or something that just is, and how we respond to it is really makes all the difference in what we're in the quality of our own lives. And what the lesson that I've taken from our interactions is that when there needs to come times, and it's happening on a global scale right now, where we've all been forced to just sit and think, like, just stop, you know. And I think that's really the blessing in this whole thing, is that we've all hit the pause button right here. And I think it's time to actually take that lesson. That's why I'm so glad to be talking to you particularly right now, is that you've not only done it, but you continue to do it daily. And I think we got 4 tips left, so I'm going to stop talking about this point. But I think for anybody,
to be honest,
for anybody watching, like that, for me, that's been the biggest lesson that I've learned from you, in that it's personal responsibility above all else. And personal responsibility plus positivity equals a happy life. So continue, please, because I can't.
Well, I did the work, and it kind of by accident in a way, because to become a coach, you have to get your own house in order. So I had to get my house in order so that I can then go and help others. But what that led to was not just being able to be coaching children and teenagers, then the gift that I can then go and help all the mums. It's generally mums that come to me. I do coach them dads, because I've then gone and transformed my relationship with my mum, my husband, my children, and I've forgiven my dad. So rather than think I didn't grow up with a dad in life, woe is me, I'm a victim, I can blame a dad, negativity in my pool of life. He wasn't able to be a father because he didn't have what he needed in life. He didn't have the childhood that allowed him to be a father. He drank, and he was aggressive because he had his own issues. And you only become an alcoholic and drink heavily if you're not happy and you can't cope with life, and it's to numb things. So him not being on the scene for me was all about him and not about me. But I made it mean something about me. And I did about 2 years of being a child therapy in my 20s, and all I did was write with a non-dominant hand and come away with, oh, you didn't get your needs met in life, still staying as a victim. Whereas the coaching I do and what I've done, it's fast, because you're not a victim unless you choose to be a victim. What can you be responsible for? Choose the meaning. It was all about him. It didn't mean you didn't matter. You choose to matter rather than thinking you don't matter and trying to prove it in life. And now I can let it go. So now in my pool of life, it's just gone. It's gone. This is where I'm working from now, because I don't hone blame. I only hone sympathy and compassion for my dad. I haven't seen him in 20 years. Hardly saw him as a child. And let go of the meanings, and with that, let go of the way I decided to be with my mum. I chose to be a perfectionist. I chose to navigate her moods. I chose not to take any space. She didn't make me. But then I went blaming it. Oh, you're controlling, and you're critical. She wasn't. It was me being critical of myself. And once I let that go and allow my mum to show up differently, we are the best of friends. So it is your responsibility to step in. And this is where I get it across to children. We have 2 zones: helpless zone, power zone, helpless victim zone. I'm going to moan, groan, blame, and say they made me feel. But who chooses our thoughts? We do. Who chooses our responses? We do. So we can stay in that helpless zone and blame our parents in life, or we can blame the political system, or we can blame the virus, we blame our health, or we can jump into our power zone. I literally have children jumping like a superhero into the power zone and go, right, what can you think differently? What can you do differently? What can you be responsible for? And then go and do it. And then you save yourself rather than waiting for someone to save you. So, I mean, that works brilliantly with children. I had, I'm going on a tangent here, but I had a child run into me in a school when I delivered my program. I can't find my lunchbox. I can't find my lunchbox. She was 4. Oh. And then she's programmed, if I can't find something, act helpless, someone rescues me. And I just went, stop. You in your power zone. She stopped crying. She jumped like a superhero into her power zone. And I just said, what would your best self do? And she stopped and she thought, and she just went off and found a lunchbox. So she learned I can rescue myself. She learned I am powerful. She learned I am capable. And it's the same for children as it is adults.
And those are the moments that you'll hear somebody in their 30s or 40s or 50s saying, you know what? I remember one time I lost my lunchbox. Like, seriously, when you think back, we all have those moments where we go, and that's the kind of weird thing with raising kids, right? Because we're just going about our daily lives. And now that my kids are teenagers, they'll say like, oh, I remember when I was 6 and we were having dinner. I'm like, oh my God, what did I do when we were having dinner when you were 6? But it is it's creating those moments in those impactful ways that just makes all the difference. I just love that story.
I dare say that story means a hell of a lot more than it does to that child, because it was in that instant for me that I only finished speaking to you 10 minutes ago. Look at the power of questioning, look at the power of training you that you are capable, that you rescue yourself. And it was just an amazing illustration in such a short space with a 4-year-old. And that's what I do when I coach children. And do you know what? The way I coach children, in some respects, coach adults, there's a, we're just big kids, but with bigger bills and a few more worries.
Yep. That's true.
And a mortgage to play and closer to death. But so that's why I think we're all in a child inside. So it's clearing out the leaves in your pool of life. Whereas, so I've done it on a big scale, forgiving my dad, changing my relationship with my mum, stopping to blame my husband, and with my children as well. I clear out the pool of, so rather than about doing jobs in the house, have a conversation. So that's number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Clear out your pool of life. Think about your positive ripples going out and coming back in. And if you are irritated with someone else, actually, it's poisoning yourself. So it's not in your interests. Have that conversation. So there's number 1. Number two is, I read a quote, and I don't know who said the quote, and it's something to do how we Velcro the negative, because we have a negative bias. And I have to work on my positivity, to be honest. And the more I do it, the more it comes second nature, because we were evolved to find the negative, to find the threat. So it was survival of the fittest, not the happiest, the most content. So the other day, it came home to me as well. I phoned a friend in the evening, and I just moaned about what I didn't fit in my day. And then I stopped myself and I flipped it, because I thought, I've just moaned for 10 minutes. And it's great to have a moan and get it out there. But I forgot to see, no, I didn't get this, and this done. But actually, I helped my son make cookies, and I ended up helping a friend in need. And I ended up doing some shopping for my mum. And so what I like to say, instead of Velcroing, getting the negative and sticking at what went wrong, which is in our natural way of being, we have to create a new way, a new path. My visual aid, Ed, we need to Velcro the positive. We need to get the positive in our day and make it stick. So when I do training in schools, everyone gets a bit of Velcro, all 100 of them, because let's make it stick. We want to Velcro the positive. So what's good about your day? Actually, my son gave me a hug first thing this morning. What was good about the day? The sun was shining and do a workout outside. What was good about the day? My eldest son went and walked the dog without being asked. What was good about the day? I had an awesome conversation with Ed in Boston. Okay. And it's thinking about what we did, because that raises our vibration. Velcroing the positive raises our vibration, raises our energy. It seeps out into our atmosphere. We create the weather and other people feel it. And it just helps you cope with your day, because fears are going to creep in. I mean, I'm going to school one day a week and, you know, I'm not completely locked down at home, but I need to Velcro the positive and keep thinking about that.
Right.
So Velcro the positive. What do you think to that, Ed?
Love it. Love it. You're the best.
So Ed, Velcro the positive in your week. Give me a few bits about your positives.
Oh, geez. Well, this conversation is just huge. You know, did some great writing this morning. Had actually get some sleep last night, which is unusual for me because I'm not a great sleeper. I need to get better at that. And you know, had some really good thoughts around how to actually keep people safe in the community today. So this whole thing, like, there's a ton of positive going on, and I love that you said that you struggle with keeping your positivity up as well, because people, speaking to someone like you who is just like motivating people nonstop about being positive and all that, I think knowing that we all struggle with that, regardless of how positive you may seem either online or in life or whatever, everyone struggles with it. I struggle with it, you know. So I think that was really important. That was a positive for my day, you know, hearing from you that we're all human.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I do this. It's like I'm doing it for me and you lot along for the ride, you know, because I have got a tendency, and I don't know whether it's within my family. So my brother's got quite severe mental health difficulties. I'm sure my dad has. That I can go on a 9-hour spiral. I could get depressed. I know I could in this situation. I could get quite down, and I work at not getting down. I work and I know what works, and I know how reaching out to people, and the more I give to others. So yeah, I do it for me, and do it for others, and it's mutual.
Do you see positivity as a skill?
Yes. It's one you can develop and it become your way of being. So my mum used to be really negative. She would moan and groan and drive me insane. So I've coached her and I've given her books, and I've changed my opinion of her to allow her to show up differently, rather than like squashing her into a tin and putting the lid on it. And now my mum is so positive. She was stuck in New Zealand and she was so positive and resilient and noticing people being negative and struggling around, and she maintained a positivity. So it became her way of being, and she's 75. So it can happen at any age. She is amazing, my mum, but she used to be the one we go, oh God.
Right.
She'd be so nice. I mean, I laugh about it. She knows. She'd come to a party and go, oh, I've done nothing with my day. I've done nothing with my day. Oh, and this went wrong. And that IT person didn't phone me back. And the world's out to get me. A tree fell on a shed in her back garden with a storm the other week, and she totally sorted it out herself. She didn't, and she doesn't get insurance for it. The house behind wasn't answering doors to sort it. She sorted it out herself at 75 and just went, well, it could have been worse. At least I've got the time and energy to sort it out.
Mm-hmm.
And she just, so it becomes more natural. It becomes more of a way of being, but I do have to work at it.
Just work at it. I think we all do.
Yeah.
And just until that occurred to me, I really never saw positivity as a skill. Something that you can, just like piano or writing, something that you work at every day that you become better at. And yeah, you know,
absolutely. And if you didn't practice the piano, you'd get rusty. And if I don't practice positivity, I get down. And if I don't practice my transformation, it's like a yoga teacher doing yoga every day. You wouldn't go to a yoga teacher that didn't do yoga. So you wouldn't go to a transformational coach who didn't work on herself if something came up and go and look at it. And also you wouldn't come to somebody if you want motivation and positivity if they weren't doing it themselves. So I think I work with people because I'm like, yeah, cut me and I bleed. I'm there with you. I'm in that hole with you. Yeah, maybe different angle, but it's a skill that you can develop, but I personally need to develop it. So I have to have a diary and I have to start my day. And if I don't, I've got a 6-minute journal. And if I don't, then I just don't have the same start to the day. So yeah, it's like a skill that you need to practice. You wouldn't stop brushing your teeth and go, yeah, well, they're clean now, and stop.
Right.
You have to do it daily.
I love it. I love it. You're just like a little, like a machine that just pops out awesome nuggets. Like, I just want to like keep putting coins in you and just say, okay, I'll just sit here and listen to you all day. I just love it.
I think that's because, to be honest, I think my struggles started very early on in life. And I remember as soon as I got to university, I went to see a counsellor to try and learn why didn't I have a voice? Why wasn't I assertive? And I had depression in my 20s. And it was very shameful then. No one talked about depression. So that only came out a couple of years ago. And I would do this positivity program in a school to help me. And as soon as my son was born, who's 16 now, I knew I had depression in my 20s. So I researched it and I looked into it, starting with Martin Seligman, how I could immunize him against mental health, because I didn't want him to have the depression I had. And I saw how severe my brother's mental health issues have been. So I researched it. So it's been part of who I am for, a long time. Trying to do the maths there. Yeah, 30 odd years, if not more. So, and it's all experiential. I've experienced it, so I can tell you firsthand. I was there and now I'm here. And sometimes I jump back to there. But progress, there isn't a hierarchy. No one's higher than anybody else. And it's not linear. We're just on our own journey.
Mm-hmm.
Just on our own journey.
That's true. Absolutely true.
And it's a much nicer journey if other people are on it with you.
Yeah. Kind of makes it a lot more fun, doesn't it?
So that was point 2. So number 1 is keep your pool of life as positive as possible. Clear out your leaves. Number 2, Velcro the positive. I do love doing that. And in that, we've said that it's like a skill. Positivity is a skill. We do need to work at it. We need to work it out as much as our bodies. And that leads us into point 3, hippo time. Now, I heard on David's video how he takes maybe 24 hours if he's feeling a bit meh. Hippo time is something that a guy called Paul McGee, who I've worked with, he's a motivational speaker, came up with. And hippo time is a lovely way, because I'm very visual, go and wallow in the mud like a hippo. Go and wallow in that mud. Feel sorry for yourself. For me, eat that chocolate, watch that telly, go, but then from helpless zone to power zone, what do I need to do to move myself out of it? Who do I need to call? What do I need to do to nourish my body? Do I need fresh air? What's your strategy to get out of your hippo time? Now, your hippo time could be an evening, it could be a day. When I lost my stepdad, it was a week. I said, gave myself a week. I'm going to spend what I want, eat what I want. I went shopping, came back with an armchair. I went out for tin foil, aluminum, as you call it, and I came back with an armchair. But that was my hippo time. So I could sit in this chair and get snuggled up and think of my stepdad who died of motor neurons disease. But then, right, I've got a plan to get out of it. And we're feeling creatures. We have to get our feelings out. This isn't about stick a lid on it all and be positive all the time. Get your feelings out, get support, look at them, deal with them, and have a strategy to get work through it, have a support team, have responsibility. And then when at the end of your day, rather than, oh, this didn't happen and that didn't happen, and Velcro the negative, in your day, Velcro the positive. Well, actually, this happened. That's brilliant. I got to write with my favorite pen. I've got a fountain pen. I love writing with my fountain pen. Some days it runs out of ink. Oh, the positives, it's got ink in it. So it's not saying squash your thoughts inside and your feelings. It is not saying that. It's get them out. And sometimes you need to just go there and get them all out. And sometimes you need to get them out on the block, look at them. What's really going on? Why am I really screaming at my child? Is it because I've got fear that I'm not a good enough parent? Is it because I've got a fear that if they do this, then this might happen? And am I being led by fear? Work out. So it's like we're an iceberg. That's the top of the iceberg.
Mm-hmm.
You know it. So I'll have kids come to me who have been sent to me for anxiety, anger. They've put holes in walls and things. So what you see, they've put holes in walls through anger. Bottom of the iceberg, they don't feel good enough. They don't feel they should be at the school. They feel everyone's better than them. So you deal with that, not what's on the top. So for us at times as well, what's the top of your iceberg? What's really going on below the iceberg? Even this morning, I had a little to do with my son George. He's 12. I asked him to enter the dishwasher, and he got a cloth, and went, "Ew, that's scatty," and he just threw it at me, and I just flipped like that. So my chimp brain saw a threat. My son's negative. He's not going to be helpful in life. He's not going to be as successful and happy, and not preparing him for the world at all over a dishcloth. But he's been trained to coach me now. So he went, "Mum, what's really going on? It's not about the cloth, is it?" We had a real to do, and I'd say, "Actually, George, you're right. I overreacted, and next time I can go, oh yeah, it is a bit dirty. I'll put it in the washing machine. Here's a clean one." But I brought my own stuff to the party and snapped with him like that. And it was a little rant about the dishwashing. Could you be more positive? And there's people dying in the world. And he was just going, "Ooh, it's scatty." And I can't stand the word scatty, but I've given a meaning to the word scatty. He just says it's another word for dirty. It's a kid language. So you see how we can flip like that. But
that interaction, that is amazing. That is amazing that you have trained your kids to recognize things in you and coach you through them as you're coaching them through their things. Like, that is next level, my friend. That is absolutely master's level parenting there. I don't know what to say to that. And I think if anybody out there, I think this is where you pause the video and say, hold on, I need to rewind that, bottle that one up, because that is just incredible. I love that.
My 12-year-old coaches me a lot because I get triggered by him, because I see a reflection of myself in him, and that's what happens when we see a reflection of ourselves in others.
Oh yeah.
Weaknesses, and that triggers us. My 16-year-old, his personality is more like his dad, so he doesn't trigger me.
Mm-hmm.
So when I see the weaknesses in George, I feel it, so I can overreact. But I learn much more from George. I grow as a person much more than the youngest one, because I go looking at what's it about. But again, in my pool of life, if I blame him, I'm not taking responsibility. What can I be responsible for? So the other day as well, I had loads of shopping, loads to do, and I'd had to pick my mum up and do her shopping. And, you know, at the moment it was only a few people allowed in the shop, and you had to queue outside at 2 meters distance. And I was running behind, and I had a call at 11 o'clock, and I tripped over the dog bed, and George was working in the kitchen, and his computer was out, and I dropped all the bags quite sort of angrily and aggressively, and he got starved, and he swore at me, and then I swore back at him, and then thinking, oh my goodness, my parenting skills, I'm a parent life coach, and I coach kids, and my kids swearing at me, I'm a terrible mother. And then when it all came down, I calmed myself down, and I just said, actually, George, I'm just really upset. I picked Nana up from New Zealand, and I couldn't give her a hug, and I'm really feeling a bit upset inside. And I feel a bit,
and that's, I will do that. I'll do that with our kids here, and we're all going to have our moments where we snap, especially in times like this, right? So we're always going to have those moments that we snap. The one thing that I started doing a long time ago is when I had these interactions and I would snap, or if they did something that tipped me over the edge, what I always try to make a point of doing is going back when things have calmed down a little bit and just saying, like, okay, why do you think you got that reaction? And it causes them to think, like, well, okay, well, so I give them the opportunity to take some responsibility for whatever they were doing that was out of the realm of what they should be doing. But then I'll ask, you know, a couple of other things. I'll say, okay, do you feel that my reaction was justified or unjustified?
I remember, Ed, yeah, and what can you be responsible for?
Yeah, is it justified or unjustified? And the thing that I've always loved when they said unjustified. Like, the easy thing for a kid to do is say justified, because they don't want to have an awkward conversation. We never want to have an awkward conversation. So they'd rather just say, Dad, you're right. Yep, like, I screwed up. Like, can you please leave my room now? But when they say unjustified, I love that, because I'll be like, okay, why? And I say, well, because this, and this, and I think you're overreacting. And it's up to me in that moment to go, damn, You're absolutely right. And it always ends with I won't leave the room until we say, okay, let's figure this out. Even though it was a small thing. So it got to the point where like, okay, Dad, it was a stupid little thing, like no big deal. But when you're telling your kids that you're being present enough to monitor yourself and say, hey, I just went off the rails here over a dish rag or over the trash not being taken out. Like, really, what is going on? Now, I didn't go to the level that you just went with the iceberg and saying like, okay, what is really going on with me, which is a huge takeaway for me in this conversation. I love that. But I did kind of the next thing, which was to say, like, okay, in this moment, how would you have wanted things to happen? Why did it happen? And where do we go from here? And I think that was like, that's one of the things in my parenting that um, it's been something I've done forever. And it's really helped the relationship because they know they're listened to and they know that it is not just a one-way street. Everything has to be a two-way street because they're human beings and they have their own things going on that we can look at our kids now and go, well, you're only going to school. Well, do you remember what high school or middle school was like? Yeah, now you could go and crush it, but back then it's just as trying as your job right now. It's just as trying as anything an adult is going through. It's their level of life and you have to meet them where they are.
That's brilliant. Absolutely. And that's a good point, Ed. It's rather than trying to get them to come into our world, look at their world. You meet them in their world because we're the adult after all.
Mm-hmm.
We're the adults. So yes, they want to go on their phone, watch Netflix and eat ice cream. Why wouldn't you, your child? They are soon enough going to be in our world with all the emails and the bills and the paperwork and the responsibilities. So let them live in their world and go into their world.
Mm-hmm.
You're so right. And that self-reflection that you've got.
Yep.
You're teaching your children to self-reflect and that it's not black and white.
Right.
And go into their world. So my son George, he leaves all the drawers and cupboards open. It's like there's a poltergeist every drawer and every cupboard. And it used to really frustrate me. But in his world, he doesn't need to shut the drawers.
Exactly.
But he did know when I said, I'm really upset and thrown because I can't hug Nana. And I won't be able to hug her now for months.
Mm-hmm.
And she's back from New Zealand and we thought she couldn't get back. He gave me a hug and he said, Mum, anytime you need a hug, just ask. Can I do some jobs for you now? So it's a gift for him.
That's wonderful. It really is.
Oh, I'm imperfectly parenting and just bubbling my way through as everyone is, just with maybe a little bit more insight. At times makes it harder because sometimes I think I should know better.
Mm-hmm.
But that self-reflection, and I remember you posting or saying that, Ed, and I've used that as well. Is it justified or unjustified? And it's just saying we've all got a voice. Your opinion matters. Yeah. Good stuff. Right, moving on. So
yeah, you have I know you only have about 10 minutes, so I want to be respectful of your time here.
Clear up. So being a teacher, I'm doing mini plenaries here. That's the teacher in me.
Yeah.
Have a positive pool of life, clear it out. Negativity goes out, negativity comes back. Velcro the positive. I just love doing that. Have some hippo time. Fine, absolutely fine, but work out how to move through it. And number 4, the beach ball. Dun, dun, dun. Now, I reckon every household in the world should buy a beach ball because it's great for doing beach ball at bedtime. So you've got to keep it up over the bed, and we do positivities and gratitudes. And there's no faster way to boost your mood than playing with a beach ball. So we're going to do a family game outside later, get some sort of netting up and keep the beach ball over it. And there's so many things you can do. But on a psychological mindset point of view, your beach ball's like the world. So Ed, what colours can you see now?
Yellow and blue.
Yellow and blue. Now I can see red, orange and white. Can you see red, orange and white?
Not at all.
So that's my view of the beach ball, and that's your view of the beach ball. So your view is your view of the world. No one else sees the world like you see it. You only see your world the way you do because you've had your life. And it's a great way to get across to people and children in that, well, what could be their side of the beach ball? What could be their side of the world? Why do you think they're doing that? Why do you think, for example, I'm going to hold the beach ball as a talk. Why do you think your teachers are making you get the work done? Is it because they are horrible and they want you to have a miserable life, or is it because they want you to learn and your brain to grow? Or why do you think your mum has asked you to do tidy your room or to clear the dishes? Is it because they want to be on your back, or is it because they want to keep a nice house? And even, I mean, the deeper level, I've coached women and children. What do you think their side of the beach ball was when they weren't present for you, when they weren't there when you need them? What do you think was going on for them? Did they feel scared and alone? Is it them that's got fear in their in their bones, and that's why they're shouting at you? What could be going on with them? And the beach ball is a lovely way. Again, Paul McGee, my little friend Paul McGee, came up with this. And the big posh word for it is Weltanschauung. I learned it at university, means worldview, but I prefer the beach ball. What's their side of the beach ball? So now, if you're having a problem with someone, what's their side of the beach ball? And children from age 4 can get this. What's going on? So it stops us being selfish. And it's Stephen Covey's seek first to understand before being understood. And it's just a simplistic way. Right, let me try and understand what's going on for them. Oh, it could be like that. It could be for that reason. Yeah. And it just helps with the smooth things over. So in the workplace, why are they being irritated? Why are they putting up blocks? Right, what's their side of beach ball? Oh, it could be because of this. So Ed, how could you use the beach ball? Do you like that? Do you like the beach ball?
I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm just gonna sit here and listen to you. Seriously.
So I do courses and everyone gets a beach ball. I like to give out party bags.
Yeah.
I like to give out party bags. And so you can play games with it, and yeah, it just gets across what's their side of the beach ball. So for George, his side of the beach ball is, why do you need to shut a door? Why do you need to tidy your bedroom? Because it's my space. I don't need to.
Right.
And with it just are so many situations. Why is so and so phoning up and repeatedly saying this to me? Because, well, it's because they're a bit worried and they're just concerned about me, and they just want to keep having this conversation to check they've got it. So they feel like they're doing their bit. So the beach ball, what's their side of the beach? What's their side of the world? I do have I haven't got it here. I have got a beach ball that's the world. So some people I can say, what's your side of the world? Oh, mine's Australia, mine's of it. But the little ones can't read the same. So the beach ball.
Love it. Love it.
There we go. So that was number 4. Shall I go into number 5, Ed?
Yes, let's do it.
So number 5, I find that this helps, and it's about having a positive impact. So we can't make anyone happy, and a lot of us think that it's on us to make our parents happy and it's on us to make our children happy. We cannot make other people happy. We can only have a positive impact. They choose their thoughts and feelings. But we can have a positive impact by doing random acts of kindness. So if ever I'm on a downer, the fastest way for me to get up is to go and do something for someone else, a random act of kindness. So when my stepdad was dying of motor neurone disease, I'd be in the shower crying my eyes out at the horrendous situation he was in. He'd be in hospital and his leg would get stuck in the bed, I remember, and he couldn't speak, so the nurses didn't know. And I got in the next day and he'd still had his foot trapped in the bed. And that sort of heartbreaking stuff, and it's dealing with the emotions. I was crying in the shower. I was like, right, I'm going to make some cookies for someone. So then I went to make some cookies because I just wanted to put some positivity out there, because I was feeling sad and a bit bad inside. So yes, get the emotions out when I cry in the shower. But I think for me personally, the fastest way to make myself feel better is to do something for somebody else. So reaching out to people at this time, sending text, I'm sending cards, I'm sending notes, I'm offering some free coaching when I see people are in need. And it's what can we do to do a random act of kindness this time? I know we can't knock around with cakes and biscuits, but there's other ways. Find a way.
Oh, and especially through stuff like this, it's, if you see somebody, and I'll make this point, if you see somebody comment on a post, or you'll get that feeling, pay attention to how you're feeling, because a lot of times we push what we should do down because it's not convenient or it's uncomfortable, so you'll read something online, somebody making a comment or somebody making a post, and you go, oh wow, they're really struggling. When you have that thought, send them a quick message. Hey, how are you doing? You okay? You want to chat? It takes 2 seconds. And just that fact of just that thing that somebody cared, that somebody reached out and said, hey, you okay? Even if they're not comfortable with reaching back, that could make all the difference in someone's life right in that moment. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm trying to be more aware of how people are dealing with what we're all going through. And this whole thing just leveled humanity out. We're all experiencing the same thing at the same time, in much the same way all over the globe. So talk about being connected to humanity in such a deep way right now. We need to use that connection, and just like you said, like it all circles through us and around us and back. It's all circling back. It's a feedback loop. So when you're feeling negative, and I love how you just framed that, what's your go-to? If you live in service, if you say, this, I'm feeling really bad, how can I help somebody else? If that's your go-to, that's like, think about how that's going to resonate in the world out. And especially with kids, you know? So I mean, I know that you have a hard stop here, so we'll end it here. But I got to tell you, we had said that we were going to try to keep this to a half an hour. I knew we wouldn't. I knew. I'm like, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. So I definitely want to talk to you again, because every time I talk to you, I just sit here and I just love hearing all the knowledge that you have, and just the way that you put things. I could listen to you forever, and I'm sure everybody out there could listen to you forever too. But Christina, thank you so much for making time and just hanging out with me today.
It was a pleasure, and what was lovely is that I've it's a two-way thing. So you've shared, and I've got something from this as well. And I love the way that you kind of summed up what I knew that hadn't verbalized about positivity as a skill. I mean, I kind of knew that, and that's what I was doing. But and it's lovely to have that feedback that, yeah, it is a skill, and that's what I do. I help myself develop it, and I help others do it. And what's been useful as well is you don't see what's inside yourself. So me sharing about the rag with George, and me sharing that I actually struggle with positivity, and I have to work on it because I can get down, and I have suffered from depression, or experienced rather than suffered, because it's part of my journey. It's nice to get that feedback about what's useful for me to share, because my word for the year was impact. If I have impact, then it's impact. It makes it worthwhile. If I can have an impact on my children, my husband, my family, but on my community and the world, then I'm leaving footprints in the sand.
Yeah, amazing. Well, till next time, my friend.
Thank you so much, Ed. This has been fabulous. The highlight of my day, my week.
Let's keep in check. Yes.
Let's.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Take care now. Bye. Bye.